If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified of new videos. I am running a contest for this channel, and one lucky person will get 100.00 when I hit 250 subscribers. All you need to do is subscribe to automatically be entered. It's as easy as that. Chapter 12: Hacker enters NASA's Airbrush room. This specific sighting is even more real and greater creditable for the reason that it came from the snapshots of NASA's airbrushing room in Johnson Space Center. The room that airbrushes out any signs of lifestyles in the images, together with buildings, people, ships, and equipment, or something that pointers at wise life. Although this folk's sighting took region between the years 2001–2002, his persevering with saga lives on as America presses the UK on June 17, 2008 with its hardest hit manipulation of the political device yet. He now not only saw UFOs on those computers, but also reviews seeing alien technological know-how for developing free energy, anti-gravity, and determined out the US has captured and back-engineered many sorts of alien spacecraft. He also looks to have stumbled upon an off-world mission memorandum that the US government has already begun. Gary is currently banned from the usage of the internet and faces up to 70 years in prison if extradited to the US. His overall goal was once to convey statistics out into the open about the UFO cover-up, and in many ways, he succeeded. Gary McKinnon is a systems administrator and is accused of hacking into no much less than 97 US military and NASA computer systems for 2 years. The fee of tracking down the hacker and correcting the issues that he allegedly created by way of breaking into their computer structures got here to a whopping $700,000 and some other $2 million US greenbacks in fines, claims the US government. It appears abnormal that they say it values so much to tune him down, due to the fact the US government never says it took this amount of money to tune down any suspect for any reason. Makes the US sound determined to get their grips on him. Also, the US accuses Gary of inflicting damage, when he flatly denies inflicting any damage and says most in all likelihood they are referring to the price of fixing the flaws in the laptop applications that were supposed to maintain him and different hackers out. However, if used to be the government's fault for now not having a sufficient firewall or protection program, then they must no longer charge him for fixing it. Often Army pilots will factor out flaws that need to be corrected in the stealth opponents and bombers, yet the government doesn't turn around and charge them with fixing these repairs. Gary denies inflicting any injury on any computers and says he took each measure of precaution to stop such things from occurring. Gary said he left a notice on one of the government computers that went like this: US overseas coverage is akin to government-sponsored terrorism these days. It was now not a mistake that there used to be a large security stand down on September 11 Ultimate Year. I am Solo. I will continue to disrupt at the easiest levels. Oddly enough, Solo was tracked down and arrested below the Computer Misuse Act with the aid of the UK National High-Tech Crime Unit. They informed Gary that he would defiantly have to do community carrier to pay for his crime, yet the Crown Prosecution Service in the UK refused to press charges in opposition to him. That's when the US authorities came in, trying to get their fingers on this hacker, no longer to punish him and throw him into prison, however, to take him and blackmail Solo to force him to work for the USA. Such real testimonies have been made public on numerous accounts. The NSA or CIA will allow Gary to experience 2 weeks of actual jail-like life, with numerous interrogations, and then when Gary is assured that he will spend the next 70 years in the back of American bars, they will current him with a choice. This preference will be to work off his time as an employee of the US government or stay in prison. They need people like Solo now not only to hack into the army and government structures of other countries, however, but also to forestall the tens of lots of hacker attacks that the US device experiences every day. Gary McKinnon is too valuable of a useful resource to enable to go to waste, and the CIA government is notorious for recruiting experts in their fields from around the world to hold America the leader of the free world. In 2009, CNN even wrote an article about how determined the CIA was once to recruit new hackers to assist them in their goals. Gary was released and remained free until 2005, when the UK created a new extradition treaty with the US, and an unnamed politically worried man or woman in the treaty advent stated that the entire treaty was once created due to the US becoming desperate to get their palms on this hacker for his controllable skills. It's a variety of unhappy really, because it's a great deal like in the movie Star Wars when Darth Vader tells Luke Skywalker, "Come over to the dark side." He goes through his hacker identity of Solo, but his actual name is Gary McKinnon. He is a British hacker that was once being charged with the biggest Navy hack of all time. Legal hearings in the UK have ruled in 2006 that Gary has to be extradited to the US. However, in February of 2007 his lawyers made an argument that he has to be tried in England, not the US. However, this grew to become down immediately. On July 31, 2007, the House of Lords agreed to hear Gary's appeal and set the date for the hearing on June 17, 2008. The House of Lords delivered its judgment on Gary's fate on July 30, 2008, announcing that Gary can be extradited to the United States if they so wish. Gary appealed the ruling, but the enchantment was rejected on August 28, 2008. If extradited to the United States, Solo faces a feasible maximum prison sentence of up to 70 years. Gary says that the movie, War Games, was no longer his inspiration, however rather an e-book called The Hacker's Handbook, through Hugo Cornwell. He stated, "The first edition I study was too full of information, it had to be banned, and it was once reissued except the touchy stuff in it." Then he continued, "The e-book just kick-started me. Hacking for me was just a capacity to an end." Meaning that he used to be conscious that governments have been hiding loads of science that may want to take away a lot of suffering around the world today if they had been in use. However, instead, they remain only in the fingers of the US military. Solo is being charged with hacking into the US Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Department of Defense, and NASA among a few. Gary says that he did this because I was in search of suppressed technology, or in other words, UFO technology. He stated that it's the largest saved secret in the world due to it being linked to historic sci-fi ideas and movies, making many people seem to be upon such things as a joke, but that the technology they have hidden away is very important and could without problems change the entire world overnight. Gary is irritated that aged people around the world are struggling to pay their electric and gas payments, and the US authorities are hiding technology that would allow the world's populace of aged and teenagers to have an infinite and free structure of power to use in their day-by-day lives. Gary soon located that the US authorities were once sitting on suppressed technology for free energy, and it dispatched him on his quest to locate it to share it with the world. He says that he broke into NASA and the Department of Defense easily due to the fact, in contrast to what the press would lead us to believe, they are much less clever. I searched for blank passwords. I wrote a tiny Perl script that tied together different people's applications that search for blank passwords, so you should scan 65,000 machines in just over 8 minutes. So he determined computer systems that had a high ranking status or administer repute and haven't had their passwords set yet, but as a substitute was on a password default setting. He says that there had been lower than expected defenses to end him from coming into the computers, and that he noticed an everlasting tendency of overseas hackers beside himself on their networks. He should run a command when he used to be on a computing device that confirmed connections from all over the world, and check their IP addresses from which they came from to see if they had been different army bases checking in. However, none of them had been military. Gary stated he had hacked into the US computer systems over a length of quite a few years and usually went neglected because he used to be cautious about the hours. He said he was continually bouncing around many extraordinary time zones to stay hidden. By hacking computer systems throughout the late hours of night time and beforehand hours of the morning, he ensured that there would be much fewer human beings round that ought to capture him. He states, "There was once honestly one occasion when a community engineer noticed me and absolutely puzzled me, and we clearly talked to every different using WordPad, which used to be very, very strange. He requested me what I used to be doing, which was a bit shocking. I advised him I used to be from military computer security, which he absolutely believed. Before looking on the PC, he researched for information on where he would possibly locate his UFO information. He soon found a group, and it went with the aid of the title of the Disclosure Project. Their internet site can be observed at www.dialclosureproject.org/, and the crew posted an ebook that had 400 professional witnesses ranging from civilian air site visitors, controllers, all the way to a high-rating Army officer and Army radar operators, all the way to troopers underground in the nuclear missile silos, whose jobs are to push that launch button if such an order got here through. Gary stated that they had been very credible eyewitnesses that stated they noticed UFO technology, anti-gravity, and free-strength science that has long passed untapped using the public. Even scientists that has taken apart alien technology like ships and tried to locate the cause of how it works. One of the most influential witnesses from the book Gary read was once a NASA photographic expert. She stated in her declaration in the ebook that in Building 8 of the Johnson Space Center, they in many instances airbrushed out photos of UFOs from the high-resolution digital pics taken from satellites. She said that there had been folders known as filtered and unfiltered and processed and raw. This gave Gary the notion of a particular location of the attack. The NASA airbrushing room. Gary obtained onto his laptop and effortlessly hacked his way into that very airbrushing room at Constructing 8 of Johnson Space Center. He managed to get an image out of the folder, and what he saw on his PC display was once amazing. He stated, "It was a fruit of all my efforts. It was once an image of something that absolutely wasn't man-made. It used to be above the Earth's hemisphere. It's sort of regarded as a satellite. It was once cigar-shaped and had geodesic domes above, below, to the left, the proper and each end of it, and even though it was once a low-resolution photograph, it was very shut up. This element was once hanging in space, the Earth's hemisphere visible beneath it, and no rivets, no seams, none of the stuff related with regular man-made manufacturing." Gary considers that it was once extra than just a twist of fate that he discovered that photograph, since he studies about the girl that said, "This is what happens, in this building and room of the Space Center." He said, "I went to that building, that house center, and noticed exactly that." He should no longer get a reproduction of the photo and print it out due to the fact his graphical far-flung viewer works only body using the frame, and it used to be a Java application, so he ought to no longer keep it onto the tough drive. Suddenly Gary was reduced off as he was once downloading the photograph. He stated, "I noticed the guy's hand pass across the PC screen. He additionally managed to get the right of entry to some Excel spreadsheets." He says, one of them had the title, Non-Terrestrial Officers. It contained names and ranks of U.S. Air Force personnel who are now not registered anywhere else. It additionally contained records about ship-to-ship transfers, however, I've by no means viewed the names of these ships stated anywhere else. Can you imagine, U.S. troopers living on some other planet, perhaps permanently, to avoid them divulging the military programs and targets to others on Earth? Either writer, have study on the web about such a situation. It might also or may additionally now not be legit. I should no longer verify its source, but they say that there are over 1,000 U.S. Marines living off-world and stationed in some alien-constructed cities, possibly abandoned, on the darkish aspect of the moon. Now, this looks unusual, but with the usage of the DVD digital camera approach that I referred to in the Moon chapter, I was once capable to discover many cities and even one entire crater that was once blanketed in a dark sunglasses-like black dome. So, I for one am no longer laughing at such stories, however now looking deeper into them. Gary understood what he was once getting into when he commenced hacking the NASA computers. He says he knows, unauthorized get entry to is towards the law and it is wrong. Yet, when he is requested what the first-rate punishment for a person that has dedicated his crimes, he responds, "Firstly, because of what I used to be looking for, I assume I used to be morally correct. Even although I will be apologetic about it now, I assume the free power science has to be publicly available. I favor to stand trial in my very own country, below the Computer Misuse Act, and I choose proof brought forward, or at least I desire the Americans to have to supply proof to extradite me because I comprehend there is no evidence of damage." How necessary is free power, you ask? Excellent query, and I agree with U.S. Air Force intelligence operative, Master Sergeant Dan Morris said it great when he stated, UFOs are each extraterrestrial and man-made. It's now not that our government doesn't choose us to know that there are human beings on other planets. What the people in energy don't favor us to comprehend is that this free strength from energy generators developed with UFO technology is available to everybody. So concealment of the UFOs is due to the fact of the strength issue. When this information is discovered out via the people, they will demand that our government launch this technology, and it will exchange the world. Similarly, U.S. Army Colonel Thomas E. Bearden stated, probably 50 inventors have invented virtually cost-free electricity systems. If we use these systems, we can clean up this biosphere. But what we have is a situation where the entire shape of science, industry, and the patent office is towards you. It has been a victim of quite a bit of suppression. And at the back of this, we have a few pretty wealthy people. The extra effective the agency, the extra money they will hotel now, not solely to legal, however extra legal capability to suppress their competition. Lethal pressure is used. If Colonel Bearden is correct and had Gary McKinnon hacked into the patent office as a substitute for hacking into NASA's airbrushing room, he might also have been successful at discovering the blueprints to create a device for free energy. Photographs of such machines would be lots less treasured to the public than blueprints. One man, a hacker although he might also be, should have simply changed the world for the better. I desire they had a Medal of Honor for Joe Public when he literally puts his existence on the line for now not simply his country, but the complete world. Gary McKinnon holds that excellent honor for the struggle for those who accept as true within him and for those who do not. You are a present-day John Wayne. The world and I owe Solo a debt of thanks. As of November 4, 2008, the BBC posted that the UK had 20 MPs signal an early day motion that says that different international locations can provide a sentence to everyone in their courts. However, the individual should serve out their sentence in their United States of America of birth. In this capacity, Gary would be sent to America and tried in a court docket of law, however, have to return to the UK to serve out any sentence he receives from the US courts. Justice Minister David Burrows drew up the papers, saying that Gary suffers from a clinical situation referred to as Asperger's syndrome. This is the law, but will the US authorities fight the UK also leaves to be seen. Solo would be a helpful addition to any government's arsenal of agents. Update: on November 27, 2009, a decision to enable extradition used to be announced. In a letter dispatched to McKinnon's lawyer, the UK Home Office stated, "The Secretary of the Nation is of the firm view that McKinnon's extradition would no longer be incompatible with his human rights, and that his extradition to the United States ought to proceed forthwith." After this, Gary's legal professional, Karen Todner, mentioned that she would are trying to find a judicial evaluation of the Home Secretary's decision. If this does no longer work, then they will make a new attraction to the European Court of Human Rights, due to the fact the court used to be unaware of Gary's Asperger syndrome when they first regarded this case. Chapter 13, 2008 UFO over Turkey close-up view. Over the previous few years, Turkey has come to be a hotbed of sorts for UFO sightings. Hundreds of videos in 2008 on my own printed UFO sightings in cities such as Kumburgaz, Kurdistan, Istanbul, Kumburgaz, and a whole lot more. 30. Photo of Turkey UFO with 2 occupants in the center. At http://scwbook.blogspot.com/. One such mass sighting of several UFO sightings took vicinity in Turkey by way of an observant night shield working at a facility near the ocean. The sightings took region over several months, and the movies the guard took are dated from June 22 to August 24, 2008. His shut-up movies were of what regarded to be various UFOs, and the excessive close-up of one of them that printed not only the color of the metal, but particularly a clear window at its top, which used to be similar in shape to a stealth fighter, yet wider, and was once a single piece. Within sat no longer one, however 2 slim figures. Dozens of eyewitnesses at the Yeni Kent compound referred to that over a duration of a few months they had viewed UFOs flying over the water along their beaches. The total viewing time of his videos is supposed to take up to 2.5 hours, but many fragments of it can be viewed across the web in 2 to 9 minute segments at youtube.com. Yalcin Yalman witnessed the sightings various instances earlier than he had sufficient and determined to convey his Canon video camera to no longer simply file the far-off dancing lights, however, to also zoom in on the object to get a close-up view of the worrying flying mystery. He was once a nighttime safety guard in this region when he saw the lights. Every day after that he added his video digicam in case he saw it again, and he used to be fortunate enough to get various more probabilities at getting some excellent footage. When he filmed them on his Canon digital camera with a Sony zoom lens, he had several people standing next to him that have been additionally witnessing the uncommon lights in the sky and conversing with him while he filmed. The camera that Yalcin used was once a Canon DMG-R1A with a 20x optic zoom that can go to 100x when maxed out. He delivered a Sony lens tele-objective 1758 mannequin lens x1.7. I trust this digital camera to be at least 3 years old because Yalcin said that it uses tapes, so it is assumed that it does not use DVD or store video on a tough drive as the new 2008 video cameras currently do. Yalcin Yalman does not communicate English, but there are English subtitles of all his sightings so that you can follow alongside easily. Each of the below sightings was caught on video by way of the nighttime safety guard. The videos exhibit that every sighting was taken in PM, but Yalcin said it's due to the fact his digital camera and instructions had been in English and he does no longer examine or speak English, so he did no longer comprehend what or PM supposed to when fixing the camera's settings. All sightings he had took area in the early hours of the morning along the beach. The sightings dates and times are as follows: June 22, 2008, 4:01 a.m. July 30, 2008, 4:50 a.m. August 1, 2008, 4:46 a.m. August 2, 2008, 3:59 a.m. August 7, 2008, 5:07 to 5:13 a.m. August 10, 2008, 4:20 a.m. August 12, 2008, 5:12 a.m. Extremely close view 2 ETs in cockpit scene. August 24, 2008, 1:44 to 1:45 a.m. August 24, 2008, 4:01 a.m. Second sighting that morning. Yalcin bought such a close shot of the crafts that it literally filled up the display screen of the video, showing its dull silver surface with a clear bluish window-like cockpit at its center. The UFO was once estimated to be between 12 and 16 meters in diameter. The video indicates the ship in the proper angle as it slightly rotates, with the full moon in the back of its shining light via its clear cockpit canopy in its center. Also, the craft does now not appear saucer-like, however as an alternative appears extra triangle-shaped, but its corners are not sharp, rather the opposite. The corners are so rounded that at a distance the object has the appearance of being a disc until it rotates around slightly, in the video permitting the viewer to see that its shape is now not morphing or changing, however, has continually been triangular in shape. Unlike a lot of triangle UFO sightings, this one had no lights flashing or otherwise. This video can be determined at http://www.youtube.com/watch?v=omlamku550 subsidized with the aid of user Romulo 282838 on October 20, 2008. On the video launched are subtitles that viewers who only talk English can follow alongside with the dialogue of the Safety Protect and a few others looking at the UFOs. As the security defend zooms in on the May 27 UFO, he exclaims, "Oh my God, I acquired him again. It's moving very slowly. Moving slowly. It's right underneath the moon, near the sea." When the protection guard loses sight of the UFO for a few seconds, he asks the person next to him where it went. They respond that it's over there, hovering over the sea. Using the conversation offers us some idea of what the others with him have been feeling and seeing during this sighting. Although the sighting is high quality in video and appears to truly show no longer just one, however numerous unique kinds of flying craft in no way earlier than seen, the lack of different witness bills leaves this sighting wanting. There had been estimated to be over a dozen different witnesses of the UFOs flying over the sea, but their money owed was never recorded and shared. Kumburgos is a very small city built alongside the Sea of Marmara. When looking out over the water, the only component that can be considered is the water up to the horizon, but there is a tiny island referred to as Imralia Dazi far out of the website of Seashores of Kumburgos. Let's have a look at this island a bit more carefully. The use of the Google Earth Internet program. When we measure the island with a Google ruler, we find that it is 6.31 km across and 0.72 km extensive at its thinnest point, yet 2.5 to 3.02 km vast at every one of its ends. The satellite TV for PC photographs is semi-clear, however now not clear enough to see the structures very well. The island has only a few constructions on it and no boats are seen anywhere. Oddly, the constructions on the island seem like no constructing that I have ever viewed before. Instead, they are silver tube-like in shape and easy outdoor in places, built-in curvature in what seems to be a high hill. The tube gets thinner and disappears into the ground. Its dimension is 95.7 meters long before it turns and goes another 31.6 meters down, coming into the ground. The building is 10 meters large at its thinnest factor and 31 meters extensive at its widest point. Note that there are no airport runways seen and also there are no methods of transportation visible whatsoever. This very perhaps might also be a secret base used by using the authorities to scan with alien technology. It is very secluded, much in the appearance of Area 51. This island the use of Google ruler places at 49.39 kilometers away from the city of Kumburgos. The specific UFOs were recorded in the same location, with the aid of the identical person every night over countless months, so the UFOs ought to have come from a location nearby, perhaps the island I referred to earlier, but most probably if UFOs can travel in the depths of space, then most truly they can also travel in the depths of the oceans. This leads us to believe that the small UFOs did no longer come every night from a ways away, simply to hover over the Sea of Marmara for no reason. Instead, we can conclude that they got here from below the Sea of Marmara and the island itself is in simple terms one of the entrances to this underwater facility. The concept of extraterrestrials residing under our oceans is not new. Stories of cities with superior technologies have gone back hundreds of years, like the story of Atlantis itself. The Sea of Marmara is solely 142 miles using 44 miles wide, small in evaluation with other seas. The Kazakhstan government in Central Asia is said to be in the technique of constructing the world's first alien embassy. This is according to a lot of leaked media coming out of Kazakhstan. It is stated that they have already, as of April of 2009, allocated a massive place of land in the city of Almaty for this project. Kazakhstan believes that open contact with aliens is impending, and with the aid of being the first kingdom to mainly create such facilities, they are satisfied they will reap big monetary rewards. They also see this as an awesome opportunity to show to the rest of the world their forward-thinking policies. The article states, currently it is normally common that aliens are making use of an underwater UFO base in the Caspian Sea, which Kazakhstan borders. The head of neighboring Azerbaijan's National Aerospace Agency, Fuad Gasimov, has proven this assertion to be real, and he has mentioned on record that the historic USSR continuously monitored alien spaceships in many instances entering the water, but kept this a military secret. Gasimov himself was once part of this monitoring of the UFOs for the USSR's Science Academy. Note, the Sea of Marmara and the Caspian Sea are only 957 miles (1,540 kilometers) apart. It is stated that ex-cosmonaut Talgat Musabayev, head of the Kazakhstan Space Agency, is presently involved in the Alien Embassy project. He is stated to possess a massive amount of statistics on the aliens presently touring the Earth. For greater statistics on this alien embassy visit, Signs of the Times, Kazakhstan government to build UFO base and alien embassy, using Michael Cohen. 4 September 2009. http://www.sot.net/articles/181351-shows/18-build-ufo-base-and-alien-embassy. 4 months after taking the great footage, Yalcin Yalman showed it to Sirius UFO Space Science Research Center to appear it further. The middle studied the details for 10 days and got here to the conclusion that it used to be proper and no longer a hoax. Sirius held an information conference at the Dediman Hotel. The sighting and video were shown to all who attended and was once stated in each local and foreign media news of TV and newspapers. The film was given to Professor Oktem so that he should study it at the scientific group owned with the aid of the kingdom that is highly reliable and influential, referred to as TÜBİTAK. This is the Science Assessment Board of Turkey. Professor Oktem took the film to be analyzed at TÜBİTAK's National Observatory Center in Antalya. Sirius and Yalcin Yalman had been accompanied through TV and newspaper press as they went and introduced the film to the professor. The TÜBİTAK evaluation concluded that the flying object had a structure made up of a particular cloth and used to be without a doubt not made up of any variety of laptop animation, nor were there any varieties of distinctive results used. They concluded that the UFO sightings were most absolutely actual and no longer a hoax. TÜBİTAK then stated, it was concluded that these objects in the sighting that have bodily and fabric structures, do now not belong in any class, such as planes, helicopters, meteors, Venus, Mars, satellites, fireball, Chinese lantern, etc. However, alternatively fall into the class of UFO. The file then went on to speak about the video revealing a viable cockpit the place passengers could sit down to fly the craft. The report stated, the mild reflection from the left side of the object which is considered on August 10 shootings is not produced through the Moon. At that time, the Moon was in a phase that was exceedingly close to the new Moon section and located about at a 10 levels proximity angle to the horizon. Moreover, the photograph processing evaluation conducted on some section of the footage printed that the center of the object had the same density as its background, specifically is of an obvious nature. Professor Zeki Ika PhD, director of the National Observatory of TÜBİTAK, signed this report. In conclusion, I observed the sighting to be real, though I question why a safety defense has such a high-tech video digital camera topped off with an exquisite Sony zoom lens on it. It's not precisely the interest of desire of most protection guards, so it leaves me wondering. Also, the lack of eyewitnesses coming forward with their money owed of what they noticed leaves this sighting hanging. There may additionally be extra eyewitness accounts, however, they are possibly still no longer translated into English as of yet. I discovered the islands nearby being possible alien, military alliance bases, but yet, any craft capable of flying through the area must be capable of flying through the water, making the island connected to an underwater base in this vicinity the most in all likelihood conclusion. Chapter 14, U.S. President Obama 2008, plus George W. Bush, Reagan, Carter UFO sightings. President Obama. Let's start with the current president. On November 1, 2008, the then President-elect Obama used to be giving a speech in Pueblo, Colorado on his campaign trail to get elected as president, when MSNBC was once filming a video of Obama. The latter showed this video to the public. Anyone has seen an uncommon object shifting about 50 to 60 miles per hour throughout the cloudy sky. The object is regarded as gray-colored and without wings. There is no way that this video has been faked because MSNBC has the original, with the same UFO flying throughout it. How should any person at MSNBC no longer word this? Because frequently UFOs are caught in digital photographs or digital video cameras. However, the UFOs had been not there when the man or woman took the photograph of the sky. This is because digital gadgets can see beyond the spectrum of our confined human eyes. Also note, the object is small and solely takes up about 10 seconds of video, additionally making it difficult to catch. This skill the crafts often have some variety of cloaking abilities, which would be on par with these who fly it, since the pilots of such craft probable have thousands if no longer hundreds of thousands of years of technological innovations greater than we do, but again, the camera's lens is exclusive than the human eye, and thusly can catch what the eye cannot. This video can be located at http://www.youtube.com/watch?v=hn8zqoxp and feature =playlist and p=68335bfd6343533f and playnext =1 and playnext_ from =pl and index =36 and was posted using Person Pins Media in June of 2009. 31. Photo of Obama and UFO in Colorado. At http://scwbook.blogspot.com/. Perhaps the above sighting used to be just a coincidence, then the danger of it happening again would very slim indeed. Wrong, it occurred again. As almost 2 million people gathered to watch Obama's inauguration, seen in the video http://www.youtube.com/watch?v=-tulu07 inam8 and feature =playlist and p=68335bfd6343533f and index =37 and playnext =2 and playnext_ from =pl. A UFO sighting was once made, and no longer using a spectator, however, captured by using a cameraman who was once broadcasting the scene live for CNN. Just as the announcer used to speak me about how the inauguration was once about to start in 30 minutes or so, an object shot across the Washington Monument as the digicam zoomed out to exhibit the mass crowds that had gathered to see Obama. What used to be seen is a grayish side view of what appears like a disc flying previous the Washington Monument, over the crowd and then vanishes on the different side of the screen, far above the trees, which discounted it being a feasible bird. Also, when looking at the video in gradual motion, I note that human beings strolling regular pace will take solely 2 steps before this UFO flies over them and out of sight. This UFO crossed the distance of 110 to 130 meters in the time it took the average person to walk 2 steps. The object honestly flies in front and past the Washington Monument and over a CNN cameraman striking sitting mid-air on a swing like equipment putting from scaffolding, making this object about the length of a normal auto from quit to end. Now when I freeze frame the video action while the UFO is proper over the putting cameraman, we see the UFO's size is equal to the average automobile, even at such a superb distance. This video was once later on Fox News and many different information agencies, every discussing this specific UFO sighting. Newscasters at Fox said there was nothing in the airspace over the inauguration that day. Airspace was once closed. UFologists around the globe referred to as the sighting a rod. It's an in the past unknown life form that is active in our surroundings and is solely seen flying. Why, you ask, would an alien species be fascinated in the presidential inauguration so tons that it would come to visit? One response overwhelms all others. At the inauguration were the most influential people in America today. People like members of Martin Luther King's family, Oprah Winfrey, Caroline Kennedy, Muhammad Ali, Al Gore, Jesse Jackson Jr., Beyoncé, Jay-Z, John Cusack, Magic Johnson, Dustin Hoffman, Steven Spielberg, Samuel L. Jackson, Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, and Smokey Robinson. Most importantly, additionally existing have been former presidents Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, George Bush, and George W. Bush, plus Obama. Now think about all these human beings sitting together outside, barring a roof over them, making them easy to view from a hovering craft and a temptation to aliens to come and check out up shut and personal. The UFO could see a set of 5 US presidents all at once and sitting together, outside and in full view of the world with the sky as their ceiling, sitting just toes from one another. If aliens desired to see a mass of the most influential Americans, then this inauguration was the moment to do it. Update to the above information. There has been a UFO sighting near President Obama. This time it was in 2009 in Norway on the day his airplane landed there. Why used to be he there, to receive the Nobel Peace Prize? Why would a massive white and blue spiral be in the sky? It was once aliens letting Obama recognize that they about the award he was about to get hold of, and the spiral used to be to congratulate him. Read the 2009 Obama UFO chapter citing in this book, UFO Sightings of 2006 to 2009. President George W. Bush's UFO sighting. President George W. Bush had his share of run-ins himself. On November 20, 2003, radar from the FAA and NORAD detected an unknown radar goal within restricted airspace around the White House. The time used to be between 9 o'clock to 9:20 a.m. Upon the UFO's discovery, preparations to evacuate the White House had begun. NORAD scrambled 2 fighter planes to the area that the UFO was detected, but nothing used to be found, and they are known as off the evacuation. If the US government doesn't agree with UFOs, then why are they walking from them? Fox News, Reuters, and CNN protected the story. This passed off again on April 27, 2005. A UFO blipped across US safety radar simply 20 miles south of Reagan National Airport at 10:40 a.m. It moves rapidly in the direction of the White House at speeds of about 75 to 120 miles per hour. The White House was fast to evacuate the president. Minutes later, President George W. Bush was in an underground bunker beneath the White House, now not to mention that Vice President Cheney used to be no longer invited underfloor, lol, however, as a substitute had to be escorted off the White House grounds to a secure location. A Black Hawk helicopter used to be sent to the scene again, as well as a Park Police helicopter and a third Neighborhood Police helicopter for safe measures. All the helicopters that were sent to investigate determined only an empty sky. The object disappeared from radar solely to reappear just a few miles from the airport again. A lesser-known sighting round President George W. Bush took area in Texas January 8, 2006. The humans in Stephenville and Dublin, Texas got a surprise appearance of a UFO in their area. Over a dozen human beings that covered a pilot, county constable, and many commercial enterprise owners kingdom that they had considered a 300-meter-long silent flying object that had brilliantly lit lights and flew low and quickly to the ground. There's no one to inform you that this shook up the little communities terribly. Some of the eyewitnesses also stated that they saw U.S. Air Force jets in hot pursuit at the back of the UFO. Note, the jets may be escorting the UFO because the pilot may be President Bush himself. Radar reports that had been released show that eyewitnesses in the Stephenville area had been correct. Something was seen on radar passing over them. The object was watched on radar as it flew over and previous Stephenville and went directly toward President Bush's Crawford Ranch. At 10 miles from the ranch, the UFO went past the limits of the radar screen, or so the authorities' corporations report. Leaving us with the unanswered question, how ought to any craft of such massive size come so shut the presidential ranch barring getting a response from Army aircraft? Unless, of course, it used to be a Navy craft. MUFON Stephenville Radar Report, a 77-page report states, this object was once traveling to the southeast on a direct route closer to the Crawford Ranch, additionally acknowledged as President Bush's Western White House. The last time the object used to be considered on the radar was once at 8 p.m. It used to be persevering with on a direct direction to the Crawford Ranch and used to be only 10 miles away. Although humorous, George W. Bush was once touring to the West Bank, Israel, Kuwait, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt from January 8 to 16, 2008. While out there, he probably visited some secret US bases, making it noticeably he was out on a joyride in some huge alien craft. America does have numerous bases over there, which may want to enable the USAF to scan with alien ships without Americans noticing. So did the craft fly over the Crawford Ranch? That radar record was once now not given out to the public. However, if it was headed in that path on the final radar report, most in all likelihood the reply is yes, it flew over the presidential ranch.